I know you weren't feeling well, but it appears you're feeling better. And the end of a homestand and just the success the team has had and trying to continue it for one more night here.
Yeah, for sure. I think we got a good thing going here. We had 5 or 6 games at home, and I thought we've done a good job. I know we can have a better effort than last game, but Nashville's a quick team, so it's a good challenge for us.
I know the other night, Connor, and some of the other forwards were asked a little bit, and defensemen, about facing Yager.
Yeah.
No PK Subban in the lineup tonight, but as a young defenseman, was he a guy that you looked up to, or was there someone else who was more of a sort of a role model, excluding your father, obviously?
Yeah, I think you look at PK, and he's really dynamic offensively, and he brings a lot of energy. So when I was a kid, I looked up to him on the offensive side. He does a really good job of getting his shot through.
Facing another team on a back-to-back, you have the opportunity to jump on them early.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one thing. Obviously, they played last night, so I think it's important to get out to a good start and kind of set that foundation of getting a good forecheck and working them down low.
You're new to the NHL, but have had lots of coaches along the way. How would you kind of categorize the way Todd is as a coach? You come in and maybe you have an idea. I've seen him in San Jose, but just what he's been like as a coach for you guys.
He's been really good for the young guys, me especially, just setting the foundation and just knowing, kind of teaching me what Oiler hockey is like, and he's really good X's and O's wise. He knows how to adapt to anything that the other team throws at you. So it's been really good so far.
Not executed. We're kind of sloppy all over the ice, and fortunately we were able to walk away with 2 points. But I mean, we have to definitely clean that area up, especially moving forward.
Just your thought on Nashville, I guess, coming in here. There's a team that they're missing a couple of big pieces on the back end, but.
Yeah, I mean they're missing some key guys for sure, and I think that's something that. We're keying on, we're benefiting off of, but at the same time, that's still a National Hockey League club over there, and we got to put our best foot forward.
Yeah, you touched on that, just trying to put teams away. I guess you guys didn't necessarily do it against Florida. Is that just that mindset that once you guys up on a team, you got to try and bury it? Yeah,
for sure. I think that anytime that we can kind of grow as a team, especially the way things have been going here lately, I think that we need to put those little things together, like putting teams away and making sure the details are kind of everything in our game. And so make sure that we take care of those things, especially leading towards the end of the season here.
I ask you about Todd McLellan, and we don't talk a lot about players and the success of the team, which is fair, but I wonder what he's been like as a coach. Do you see anything different than last year, and just how much he's helped this team succeed?
I think Todd's done a great job with all of us. He kind of pushes players in each direction that they need to be, kind of adjust to everybody's needs and buttons, and he kind of finds a way to push them. So he's done a great job. I think that he's a big reason why we're in this winning stream here, and big thing why we're moving forward.
Talk a little bit about back-to-backs. In the past, I've seen maybe the Oilers not having as much success as teams that have come in and played the night before, but it seems like you guys are kind of honing in and realizing that, listen, these are games we should win, especially because we do have a better club now.
I think for sure we definitely have to take care of clubs back to back. That's always plays in your favor for sure. But yeah, no, it's our attention to detail. It's doing the little things right, moving forward, trusting one another, and kind of really solidifying ourselves as that team. So trying to make sure we're working towards the finished product here as a team and as a whole.
Yeah, I think no matter who you're playing, the first goal is always important. Anytime you can get an early lead, it's going to help your team out tremendously, and especially if you give up a first goal at home, it makes it a little bit tougher. So I just want to make sure you come out firing and make sure we get the first one.
Especially against Pecorine, who's kind of had the Oilers number in the past 6 games here.
Yeah, he's a great goalie. He's a big goalie, and we got to find ways to get to him and cause traffic and make his night as hard as possible. So getting that first one can maybe make it a little bit easier for us, and hopefully go from there.
Great.
How important are these next 2 games? Obviously, if you guys take care of business, depending on how things shake down, you could have a 10-point gap on the Flames.
Yeah, anytime you can build points in the standings, it's a huge thing, and just gotta make sure we take one game at a time, worry about the task at hand, and but like I said, earning all those points, especially against teams that you don't play that often during the year, it's definitely an important thing.
The key against Nashville tonight, a team that played last night, and big win for them.
Yeah, I think any team that's coming off a back-to-back, you want to try and get on them early and take their legs out of it right away, and they're coming off a hard-fought game last night, and just gotta make sure we take advantage of that, and just try and take them as early as possible.
Missing a couple key guys. How do you plan it?
Some believe a city can define a person and vice versa. For athletes, their successes and failures represent a city like the buildings and backgrounds that surround them.
There we go.
For Milan Lucic and his home city of Vancouver, the connection is equal parts triumphant and uncomfortable. But it's where he's from and where he discovered his love for the game of hockey.
First memory of hockey was playing with my older brother. We started playing hockey in Vancouver out in the Agrodome for, at the time, was called Hastings Minor Hockey, and it was always a thrill for us, especially because I remember as kids, we got to watch our uncle play a little bit in the WHL when we were really young, and then he actually started off with the Vancouver Canucks in, I think, the 93-94 season. So for us to be able to do that and have that was pretty cool, and I would say that's my first hockey memory as a child.
Today, the entire NHL knows when the Oilers' number 27 is on the ice.
High slot shot, Sekera tipped home in front. The hulking Milan Lucic. David driving in, left circle, back door. Rim shot score, Milan Lucic. This could be a real good fight. Lucic took exception and lands a big right hand on Derek Englund. He's going to hear it from the crowd of 18,347 as he heads to the dressing room.
His style of play developed at a very young age.
I would say I was as aggressive, yes. I think the aggression is something that I've always had in me, and the compete level is something that I've had in me since I was a little kid. That's what made me a good athlete.
In 2005, Lucic earned his spot on the Vancouver Giants and got to live out a dream few players get to experience, playing junior hockey in their hometown.
I just remember we went, I was playing Junior B at the time and for the Delta Ice Hawks, and we played a game against the Grandview Steelers, and I think I know Kyle Turris was on that team, and they were at that game watching Kyle Turris. This is the story that I was told. And I had a good game. I think I had a goal and assist and was first star of the game. And next day I got a phone call and said I was listed by the Vancouver Giants. Because my uncle played in the WHL, that was something that I wanted to do as well. And when I had that opportunity to do it with my hometown team, it was definitely an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
The following year, with the NHL draft taking place in Vancouver, Milan was once again poised to celebrate in his hometown.
Boston kind of went out on a limb with taking me at 50th overall, and I think I was ranked like 90th or to go late in the third round, and they kind of jumped off the board a bit and took a big chance on me and taking me that early in the draft. And I actually thought I was going to get drafted by the LA Kings. They had the 48th pick. Once they picked someone else, I kind of didn't pay attention to the 49th and 50th pick. So to be perfectly honest, I didn't even hear my name get called. And it was actually my mom and my...
You didn't answer questions in fourth grade, did you? No?
Todd, I saw Lauren out late in practice. Usually that's a sign. You're going to go with Cam. You just want to run with your guy. Or is it more so you want your whole team to bounce back after Wednesday's game?
Well, we're playing it one game at a time. Cam is fresh. He's ready to go. And we're choosing to play him tonight. We'll worry about Calgary or tomorrow when we get to tomorrow. And it's our last game on a homestand. We've got a team that played back-to-back. We want to get up and running, and part of it is giving the whole team a chance to rebound as well.
Todd, can you just talk about expectations on the players even when things are going well, and how maybe as a coach you ramp it up a little bit even more, and how you keep the standards high in winning times?
I think this is the best time to be aggressive and be assertive with your team. When they're feeling a little bit good about themselves and maybe letting some details slip, so you stay on top of them. They're more accepting of not necessarily criticism but direction at this point, and they're pretty good at self-evaluation. They know personally where they're at in their game, and they also know as a team that they need to be better, so they're accepting of it. And our direction has been primarily video. If anybody watched our skate yesterday, it wasn't very taxing. Again, because of the segment, we're in 11-19 by the time we're done tomorrow, and it's just how we have to manage our team.
You were working on earlier in the season or evaluating how your team handled success and how they dealt with prosperity. I know it was something you weren't happy with early. Have you seen improvement in your team through the year, that they're in winning situations acting better?
Yes, for the most part. We still have to answer that question. There's so many games left in the season, but I think the approach between winning and losing, or the reaction to winning and losing, pardon me, rather than the approach has leveled out a little bit more with the players and and the coaches and all that type of stuff. There's not near as high, and the lows aren't quite as low. Emotions are in check, and acceptance of what went right and what went wrong is at a pretty good spot as well.
Brandon Davidson, due to injuries, hasn't played a ton of hockey in the last year. Have you seen improvements in his reads and reactions now that he's getting a few consecutive games under his belt?
Slowly, yes. He'd be the first to tell you he still has work to do, but there are improvements, and you'd expect that to happen over time. The tough thing for him is missing the end of last year, coming back and missing basically all of exhibition season and training camp. So he didn't even get that part under his belt. And to come back in, it's happening fast. The intensity is up a lot higher now. We don't notice it because we go day after day. You guys don't even notice it. You go day after day. You don't see the incremental intensity or speed increase from where it was in September in exhibition season. But he feels it because he's going right into it.
Todd, when it comes to Benoit Pouliot, do you just sense that he's really frustrated in trying to get things going, or what do you see in his game right now?
Well, he's the next one. Obviously getting Ebbs going and off the schneid is important. Cass got his. Benny has been part of Jordan's reestablishing his intensity around the net and that type of stuff. Now Benny's got to get it done, and I think Benny's worked harder. I think there's been a better effort, and that has to come before results exist or start presenting themselves. And he's done that lately. Hopefully he gets rewarded at some point.
Now that Eberle snapped his long slide, are you expecting him to go on a run? Do you think he's that type of player that?
Well, he's been streaky in the past, so let's hope that he does. Let's make sure that the next streak is a positive one, not a negative one. But we've talked enough about him. It would be nice just to leave him alone right now and let him play his game, and maybe he does put 2 or 3 together. But he has proven to be streaky.
When it comes to your goaltenders,
Hey, when you're in the front row, I can hear you, Spec.
When it comes to your goaltenders, you probably don't want to tell us who's playing tomorrow. Do you know in your own mind who you're playing tomorrow night, or is it something you're going to make a decision after tonight's game?
We'll evaluate tonight's game. We'll be able to, take everything into consideration, but tonight's game will also come into that.
Have you seen any improvement in Lucic's game the last couple? He still can't score a goal.
I think he can score a goal, he just hasn't.
Have you seen improvement in his game?
Yeah. I've seen a line that's starting to form an identity with Schlepp and Luch on the wings, doing some good corner work, some quickness through the middle, some unity on the bench where there's some talking about what's going right and what's maybe not going right on the line. And Luch is a big part of that. He is the granddaddy there. He's the one that keeps it going, and you have to give him credit for that. On the ice on the power play the other night, occupying some real important ice when we score. He attracts other players, opens up space for some of our quicker, smaller guys, Drake in particular.
How different is Nashville to prepare for when they don't have PK Subban and Roman Josi in the lineup?
Well, they are. We haven't seen Nashville with PK, but we can assume what they would be like with him. But they are, they still play their team game. They still have back end guys. That's the strength of Nashville's organization, in my opinion, and David and Paul Fenton and their group have always done a tremendous job with defensemen. Bringing D-men in draft-wise, finding them in the American League, doing whatever they do, but they bring them in and they always seem to be able to play their system real well. And if we sit back and say, okay, these two aren't in the lineup, it's going to be easy from the back end, we're dreaming. You know, anybody who watched the Calgary game last night could see that. So we have our work cut out for us just based on who's playing, forget about who isn't.
Todd, you've been given a lot of optional skates to these guys. Is that something that just happens over the course of a season because the season is long, or is that a change in philosophy that you've had?
I would like to be practicing because I think we need it. I think we're still a growth team that needs time on the ice, needs to be given some direction in situations, body position, timing, some system stuff, but we can't do it. We have to let the players make some decisions based on how they feel physically. And we've actually encouraged some of the younger players, because naturally on an option I have to go out because I'm a young player. That's not the case. As a young player, you have to be able to perform. So you know your body. If you need some time, take the time. We're beyond those archaic days where just because of your youth, you've got to be on the ice all the time. You get tired too. But I would like to be practicing. We can't, though, based on the schedule.
Todd, you mentioned Lucic in that line with Slepyshev, who Slep doesn't play in the power play, doesn't play in your penalty kill. He's not somebody that I think everybody looks on like an Eberle to score goals. As a coach, when you're evaluating his games, is it tougher to evaluate a rookie like that, or is it easier to say just simple things? Kind of what's your expectations from him on a nightly basis? What have you seen now that he's played a few consistent games in a row?
He looks confident right now. He looks sure of himself. He has a heavy shot, and he's quick. He can dart to loose pucks and play. I call it playing inside the opposition's equipment. Get inside people and reestablish possession of the puck. And when we see that happening, he seems to be more confident. I thought earlier in the year when it wasn't going so well for him, there was a number of turnovers, a number of hope plays. We don't see that as much anymore. Power play, penalty kill may come over time, but we've kind of settled in now. We're, 2/3 into the season or 3/4, whatever it might be, with a rotation on the power play and on the penalty kill. So we'll likely not change that much unless injury dictates it. Why would they not give you the mic? Played extremely well when he went down there again, produced points, centerman, understands our environment, the systems, can play wing, can play center, can penalty kill, pretty good on face-offs. Done.
Off the board a bit and took a big chance on me and taking me that early in the draft. And I actually thought I was going to get drafted by the LA Kings. They had the 48th pick. Once they picked someone else, I kind of didn't pay attention to the 49th and 50th pick. So to be perfectly honest, I didn't even hear my name get called. And it was actually my mom and my dad and my grandparents beside me that heard my name get called. And actually the fans that were there started cheering too, and I was wondering what they were cheering about, and it was the fact that I got drafted to the Boston Bruins.
In his final year in the WHL, Lucic proved why the Boston Bruins were right in selecting him early in the draft. Leading the Giants to a Memorial Cup, he was named tournament MVP.
We definitely didn't want to go home empty-handed, and getting a chance to do that in front of our fans in our city, in the Pacific Coliseum, which was rocking on that Sunday afternoon with 16,000 people. It was definitely one of the greatest experiences of my hockey career. And for me, being a hometown boy, getting to do that in my hometown.
I was calling the championship game between Medicine Hat and Vancouver, the Memorial Cup final in 2007. And I think the most vivid thing for me was the fact that the place was bananas. It was absolutely bananas. And then, you know, as they now call it and did very shortly after, the shift.
Enough credit went that way for the job Willie Desjardins did. Huge hit involving Matt Lowry and Milan Lucic. Lucic, the big forward.
And the funny thing is, when I think about it, and even when I look back at it, most people know me not being lost for words very often, but Milan was just like a human wrecking ball to the point where I remember when he clobbered Trevor Glass in the corner with the third hit and then got in the fight with Benfeld. It was like I couldn't even really say anything for about the last 11 seconds of the play.
There's guys that I've gone to summer skates with that still kind of bring it up and kind of laugh about it. And to be honest, the one thing, you know, it's just something that happened. It was just, I came on the ice, a hit was there and I made it. Another hit was there, I made it, and then we had a scoring chance, we didn't score, but the puck ended up in the corner and I had another hit, and then it turned into a fight, and you know, the fans were rowdy and we were definitely a little bit nervous about it, and I think it kind of calmed myself and everyone down and ended up being a big part of the game. I started my hockey career as a 3.5, 4-year-old at the Agrodome right next door to the Pacific Coliseum, and getting to fulfill my dream of winning a championship like that. I'm so lucky and fortunate that I got to do that in front of my hometown friends and family.
Dominating in the Memorial Cup Finals was one thing, but cracking a deep Boston Bruins lineup in his first NHL camp was another.
My first impression, he was actually right beside me one of the very first days of camp, and he's just, you know, the big frame. And the thing that got him into the NHL was his attitude. You know, he was the happiest person to be anywhere near an NHL jersey, and you could just see it. You know, he was just beaming, and I think he did what a lot of guys forget to do, is just totally embrace the opportunity that you have to make an impression, right? I think so many guys, for whatever reason, come in kind of timid, and he was the exact opposite. You know, he came out like a bull in a china shop, made a bunch of noise, fought, hit, you know, and just made the most of, you know, what slim chance you get, you know, to make this league.
I think the most intimidating part is you go from, you know, junior guys who are kind of boys and to men, especially walking into a dressing room with Zdeno Chara. I mean, you know, who's 6'9", 255 pounds, and he's about 3.5%, 4% body fat, and you're like, oh my God, like, you know, these are players that I'm gonna have to play against. But thankfully, we were on the same side for 8 years.
In 2011, Lucic would once again be tied to the city he grew up in, but this time as the enemy.
For as long as you can remember, your goal was to win the Stanley Cup, and I think for me it was extra special to be able to achieve that in my hometown and have, again, my friends and family there to celebrate with me, and being able to bring a cup back to an original 6 team. And the last guy to bring it back to Boston was Bobby Orr, you know, the greatest player to play before Wayne Gretzky, and getting to achieve that dream in Vancouver was such a great moment, and I enjoyed every single second of it.
Looking back, Lucic remembers sharing the moment with his dad, who passed away only 4 years later.
He was a huge fan of mine, and he was a huge fan of hockey and watching hockey. You know, just like the whole household, you know, we were Canucks fans before I started playing for the Bruins. But I definitely, if you ask me now, he was probably a bigger Bruin fan than anything else, and it was great to share all those great moments with him.
Signing with the Oilers in the summer of 2016, the connection was with Peter Chiarelli. The same GM who gave that 19-year-old a chance in Boston was now bringing an experienced 28-year-old to Edmonton to be a leader.
I think it's been really good because we've had a lot of success since I've played for Peter. Obviously, he gave me a chance and took a chance by drafting me early in 2006, and took a chance on me by keeping me around as a 19-year-old and giving me that chance to excel and be a big part of his teams in Boston and now here in Edmonton. So obviously our relationship's been a good one, and we've already talked about it. The ultimate goal is achieving what we achieved in Boston, and we both believe that we can do that.